Hello everyone. It is another day to start afresh. From our previous video, we had an overview about poetry and we were able to analyze a short poem. This time, we will dig down to one of the three categories of poetry, which is lyric poetry. Let's try to define what lyric poetry is. Lyric poetry is a comparatively short, non-narrative poem in which a single speaker presents a state of mind or an emotional state. One key distinction of lyric poetry compared to narrative poetry and dramatic poetry is the length of its lines and stanzas. The main motivation of author in writing this kind of poem is his or her emotional state. In other words, authors made use of this poem to release the intensity of their emotion, may it be euphoric, solitude, sorrow, anger, and others. Another defining trait of a lyric poetry or lyric poem are a song-like quality and an exploration of emotions and personal feelings. As we said earlier, lyric poems are meant to be short in length. It makes use of figurative languages that best describe the poet's emotional state. Lyric poetry does not necessarily need to be sung. The musical accompaniment while delivering the poem adds a heartfelt mood to the audience. Now let us move to the different types of lyric poetry. First, we have the song. As the name suggests, a song is a lyric poetry that is always meant to be sung. Think of your favorite song. If it's a sad song, haven't you felt a sudden surge of sadness or loneliness? If it's a happy song, haven't you felt the gush of excitement and joy? If your answer is a resounding yes, then we can say that the song impacts our emotion and digs down to the deepest of our thoughts by reminding us of whatever unforgettable experience we have. Some songs are being revived by singers as they find it relevant to their current emotional state. Some examples of songs that are revived are the song Two Less Lonely People, originally sung by Air Supply and revived by KZ Tandingan, which she gave her personal rendition to the song. Another song revival is the song titled Tatsulo, originally sung by Buklod and revived by Bamboo. Second type of lyric poetry is elegy. Elegy is a meditative lyric poetry lamenting on death of a public personage or of a friend or a loved one. In other words, this type of poem is meant to commemorate the passing of a person. It contains words that give tribute to the well-spent life of the dead. Elegy's usual mood is lamentation and grief. In a more grave loneliness, elegy can make you feel melancholic. One example of elegy is the one written by John Milton titled Lycidas. Allow me to read his elegy. Bitter constraint and sad occasion dear compels me to disturb your seasoned dew. For Lycidas is dead, dead ere his prime, young Lycidas, and hath not left his peer. Third type of poem is ode. Ode is a poetry or lyric poem usually marked by exaltation of feeling and style, varying length of line, and complexity of stanza forms. Contrary to the purpose of elegy, ode is meant to celebrate a happy occasion such as a victory, appreciation, dedication, or feast. Ode is derived from the Greek word eidein, which means to sing or to chant. This is why ode is usually accompanied with music and dance. Moreover, ode can be categorized into three. We have the Pindaric and Horatian ode. Both are structured ode invented by Pindar and Horace, respectively. The last category is irregular ode, which, as the name suggests, does not follow any conventional form. The poem being shown is an excerpt of a Pindaric ode written by Sappho titled Ode to Aphrodite. Allow me to read it for you. Deathless Aphrodite, throned in flowers, daughter of Zeus, O terrible enchantress. With his sorrow, with his anguish, break my spirit, lady not longer. Hear anew the voice, O hear and listen. Come, as in the island dawn thou comest, billowing in thy yoke car to Sappho, forth from thy father's golden house in pity. This time, let's have the fourth type of lyric poetry, which is psalm. It is a lyric poetry that pertains to sacred song and poems used in worship services. In short, psalms are written to worship and exalt the divine being. I believe everyone is already familiar with the Holy Bible. In this book, there is a special section where you can find the book of Psalms. If you were to read each psalm, you will notice a single theme, which is to glorify the Lord. One famous psalm is the Psalm 23. Let me read it for you. My shepherd is the living Lord, nothing therefore I need. In pastures fair, near pleasant streams, he setteth me to feed. He shall convert and glad my soul, and bring my mind in frame to walk in paths of righteousness for his most holy name. Yea, though I walk in vale of death, yet will I fear no ill. Thy rod and staff do comfort me, and thou art will with me still. And in the presence of my foes, my table thou shalt spread. Thou wilt fill full my cup, and thou anointed hast my head. Through all my life, thy favor is so frankly showed to me, that in thy house forevermore my dwelling place shall be. Finally, we have the sonnet. To compare with other lyric poetry, except from the Pindaric and Horatian ode, sonnet strictly follows a certain structure. A sonnet is made up of 14 lines in iambic pentameter. An iambic pentameter consists of iambic foot, which is a pattern of poetic lines made up of iambs. An iamb, on the other hand, is an unstressed stressed patterns of syllables within the line. Furthermore, iambic pentameter has 5 meters, or a total of 10 syllables in a line. To picture it out, think of it as 5 heartbeats. D for unstressed syllables and dum for stressed syllables. So it goes like di-dum, 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 di-dum. To further illustrate, let's take a look at the first line of Sonnet 18 of William Shakespeare. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? We can demonstrate the iambic pentameter by making a soft tap on our chest, like this. This represents the unstressed syllables, the soft tap. And a hard tap for stressed syllables, like this. So while reading the line, we must be able to make 5 complete beats. This time, let's read it one more time with demonstration. So we will read it again, but this time with demonstration. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Okay, so that's how iambic pentameter goes in sonnet. Now let's proceed to the structure of sonnet. Sonnet has many forms, but this time let's only focus on the 2 most popular forms, Shakespearean and Petrarchan sonnet. Shakespearean sonnet is created by William Shakespeare. This structure is called as English sonnet. English sonnet is composed of 3 quatrains and 1 couplet, having a total of 14 lines. Quatrain means 4 lines in one stanza, while couplet means 2 lines per stanza. On the other hand, Petrarchan sonnet is introduced by an Italian poet, Petrarch. This structure is also called as Italian sonnet. It is also composed of 14 lines, which a sonnet should be. The difference is that it's composed of 1 octave and 1 sestet. Octave is 8 lines in one stanza, while sestet is 6 lines in one stanza. Aside from the structure, English and Italian sonnet also differ when it comes to rhyme scheme. Let's take a look at the sample sonnet for English sonnet. We have the sonnet 18 of William Shakespeare. English sonnet has a rhyme scheme of A, B, A, B, C, D, C, D, E, F, E, F, G, G. You might be wondering what this rhyme scheme means. Notice that the three quatrains have an alternating rhyme scheme and the couplet has a consecutive rhyme scheme. To be specific, let's focus on the first quatrain. The last word of the first line is day, which rhymes with the last word of the third line, which is may. The same pattern can be observed with the second and fourth line. This alternating pattern is recurring to other two quatrains. Meanwhile, the couplet always needs to have rhyming words at the end of each line. In this case, the word see and thee are the two consecutive rhyming words of the couplet. Now let's move on to the Italian sonnet. The Italian sonnet has a rhyme scheme of ABBA, ABBA for octave, and varies a little in couplet, or in sestet, I should say, having either a rhyme scheme of CDE, CDE, or CDC DCD. Focusing on the octet, you will see that the rhyme scheme in the first 4 lines seems to be a sandwich. That means the last word in the first line, fame, which rhymes with the last word in the fourth line, flame, sandwiched the rhyming words land and stand that can be found at the end of the second and third line, respectively. The same pattern is shown in the last 4 lines of the octet. Finally, the sestet chose the pattern CD DCD. That means the rhyming words she, free, me can be found at the end of the first, third, and fifth line of the sestet, respectively. Same goes with the ending words of second, fourth, and sixth line, whose rhyming words are pour, shore, and door, respectively. That concludes our discussion for today. I hope you learned something about lyric poetry and its types. With that, it's time for me to say goodbye and stay safe, everyone. Goodbye for now.